Alright, we're now halfway through the month, lots of things happening in the market, and it looks like there's not going to have another lockdown even if the second wave is coming back, as the US simply cannot afford to do that one more time. And there has been lots of progress towards the curing and the treatment of the virus. And some even suggest that a vaccine can be ready in November this year. But of course, many stocks are still overpriced and virus cases are not gone yet. With these uncertainties, I have come up with a list of 10 stocks that I think will be good investments as of now. I have put considerations into the small possibility of another lockdown, the prolonged unemployment issues, and the prospect of these individual stocks. So make sure to stay to the end of this video to find out what these stocks are. And let me just give you a spoiler here, Apple is in it. And you know it's gonna be a good list if Apple is in it. And with that said, let's get this video started. Hey, if this is your first time watching a video from this channel, then please consider subscribing as I go through weekly topics ranging from personal finance to investments. And I typically upload 2 to 3 videos a week to keep you up to date to the market. Alright, so number 1, as mentioned earlier, is Apple. The stock has gained more than 60% since its low in March due to the outbreak. It has also outperformed all the 3 major indices. But this stock is not cheap. But considering what a big player Apple is, this price is not too bad. But what's most exciting about Apple is what's coming up next and its potential. First of all, Apple's annual mid-year event, the Worldwide Developer Conference, the WWDC, is happening next week. As usual, Apple will be showing off its new products and developments. Some news have already been announced, such as Apple will be starting to use its own chip for its own laptop and computers. Apple has been using Intel chips for their laptops and computers all these years, but is finally making the switch to use their own chip to better manage their own production line and costs. In fact, most of their own products already use their own chip, such as the iPad Pro, which easily outperform many average laptops out there, including their own MacBook Air. So you can bet that the reduction in cost and higher in hardware and software integration will help to increase their market share even further. And lastly, let's not forget that Apple currently has a very low market share in many developing countries. Apple has only 1% of market share in India, which has around 1.3 billion people. There's just so much room for growth, so don't feel intimidated by the price you see today. Apple stock can be used for short-term trading as well as long-term keeping. Number 2 is AMD. It's a processing chip manufacturer similar to Intel. It has gained more than 35% since the March low. But what's most exciting about AMD is the upcoming next-gen gaming consoles, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. Both consoles will be using AMD chips. Video gaming is considered as part of the lockdown economy, so the next-gen gaming consoles are going to be pandemic-proof. Just look at Nintendo's gaming console, Switch. Their sales were on fire during the lockdown. So AMD is lucky in this scenario because every generations of new gaming consoles come only every 6 to 7 years, and this is the year. So you can bet that AMD is going to benefit from this incoming generation of gaming consoles right after this financial depression. Next up at number 3 is Twitter. It has gained around 70% since its low in March and outperforming the S&P by miles. But the most important thing coming up next for Twitter is the coming election. Twitter has never been more relevant than today, especially in politics, and the US election is coming up at the end of this year. And you can expect that there's gonna have lots of yelling and shouting inside Twitter in the coming months, metaphorically speaking. Many people think that Twitter is dead many years ago. It was believed that Facebook had overtaken its territory, and it did at some point, but not anymore. Twitter is still around after so many years, by creating its own territory. It is now the top social media platform to make your own statements and let them be heard by the public. Facebook can do that too, but all the privacy settings and being a little too personal makes giving a shoutout on Facebook less impactful than using Twitter. If I want to make a public statement, I would definitely rather use Twitter. Whereas Facebook is really for me to keep in touch with family and friends, sharing photo albums, and being forced to like your friends' kids' photos. And sticking to social media, my number 4 is Snapchat. Similar to Twitter, it was thought that its competitor had already overtaken its market share a few years ago. When Facebook offered to acquire Snapchat, they refused. So thereafter, Facebook replicated its short-term video sharing features in its photo sharing app, Instagram. So it appears that Instagram and Snapchat both have their own user base, but Snapchat managed to have a much larger market share than Facebook among the Gen Zs as a more preferred social media platform. No question that Instagram is their favorite social media platform, but Snapchat is either the second or third favorite social media platform, depending on the age group. And yes, Snapchat is fighting TikTok to get a second place, but since TikTok is not a public company yet, so you can't buy them. The Gen Zs will be the generation of tomorrow. The popularity among this generation just cannot be ignored. Snapchat stocks have gained more than 150% since the March low, and that is very impressive. So it's a stock that you should look at along with Twitter. Next, sitting at number 5 is another tech company, Shopify. It's often mistaken as Spotify, the music streaming service. So not that one. Shopify is a Canadian company that runs independent online stores for small and medium-sized businesses. Its stocks were almost untouched during the lockdown and even gained more than 130% since the mid-March, whereas most other stocks hit their epic lows. As less people will be doing the shopping in person, more shopping will be done online, and small and medium-sized companies want to take advantage of this trend by setting up their own online stores as well. And Shopify facilitates this. If you have seen how bulletproof Amazon was during the lockdown, then you can count on Shopify performing the same as well. Now there's one more big news, but I will skip that for now and come back to this news after my number 6, and that is Walmart. Walmart is another pandemic-proof company. It didn't even drop much during March. People still have to buy groceries and other things, whether there's a pandemic or not. And not to mention, Walmart had more than $500 billion of revenue last year, the largest in the entire world. It recently overtook eBay as the second largest online retailer after Amazon in the US. Amazon has huge market share in the online retail sector, so if Walmart can keep taking up shares from Amazon, then you can expect to see more growth on Walmart stocks. So back to my number 5, Shopify. Last week, Shopify and Walmart signed a deal to allow Shopify's vendors to post their inventories on Walmart's online website. So customers from Shopify's vendors and Walmart will have exposures to each other's catalogs and products. Collectively, Shopify and Walmart can continue to take away market share from Amazon, giving it a run for its money. Now, you know why I skipped that part when I was talking about Shopify? Good. Now let's move on to number 7, and that's Disney. Disney had an amazing past few years, with Avengers and Marvel movies topping the box office one after another. But fast forward to today, it is undisputed that the entire showbiz is compromised during the pandemic, but thanks to its online streaming service, Disney Plus, it manages to continue bringing in revenue. Disney Plus is the leading online streaming service for kids, and it also has plans to have many more original TV series featuring on its platform in the coming years. It's definitely causing more than just a dent to Netflix, and with Disney World opening up slowly upon the recovery from the pandemic around the world, you can count on it to be an expensive stock again in the future. And next at number 8 is Marriott. If you were to buy stocks from the travel industry that has a clearer path and less uncertainty, then that would be from the hotel industry. Out of the 3 travel sectors, the hotels, airlines, and the cruises, the hotel industry will be the first to recover, as it doesn't necessarily solely rely on foreign travelers, but domestic travelers too. You can say the same for the airlines also, but they have a very different business model. Marriott has over 7,000 hotels under its belt, and most of them are operated by different companies and have different property owners. So the burden is not entirely resting on Marriott's shoulders. Unlike the airlines, in most cases, the airline itself or its parent company has to shoulder the financial burden. Not to mention, its overhead is much higher than hotels. Reports are already seeing the occupancy rate rising for the hotels, and it doesn't need more than 30 to 40% of the occupancy to break even. And out of all the hotel stocks, Marriott has the largest footprint in the world, and often having multiple hotels in the same city or town. So with proper management, guests can still stay in one of Marriott's hotels while not needing to turn the guests away to another brand in the event that a particular hotel is not operating yet. Okay, so at number 9 is McDonald's. I've been a big fan since I was a kid. McDonald's is one of the best run restaurants during the pandemic. They even managed to keep most of their branches open, and as of now, more than 95% of their restaurants are already open globally. It has also regained 40% of its share prices in June already, and one of the best stocks to own in terms of value. Now, even though the economy is opening up, but it is unquestioned that there will be less spending power from the people in the coming months, and fast food consumption may increase because of this. So overall, if you believe that the lockdown is over and whether people have money to spend or not, it is quite safe to say that McDonald's stock will grow in the coming months and years. Okay, so here comes the last one and maybe slightly controversial, and that is American Express. Now, just like most financial institutions, the financial burden these institutions have to shoulder from the economy is huge. At the same time, people's spending power is still up in the air. But American Express has just won the rights to process China's national currency. making it the first foreign company to do so, getting its foot into this $27 trillion spending market. This alone will set it apart from its competitor, Visa and MasterCard. There is just so much room to grow once you enter China's market, no doubt about that. This reason alone is enough to justify the spot in the top 10 stock to buy in June. Alright, if you like my pick, then please click on the like icon and subscribe to my channel, as I will be posting similar videos regularly, so stay tuned to those. And with that, thanks so much for watching and peace out.